that. But as to the people and the companies that you regulate as chairman of the SEC, do you consider yourself to be their daddy? No.
Hey babes, welcome back to the O Show, everything crypto every day. And I just finished listening to SEC Chair Gary Gensler talk in front of Congress about cryptocurrency because they have to keep investors safe. Because we all know that is the job of the SEC. I'm going to go ahead and break down the conversation for y'all. Then we're going to talk about some other interesting topics. But before I do that, we're going to talk about Bitcoin price action because that is what matters. And I personally like to opt out of traditional financial products with Bitcoin. You heard me use the term opt out with Bitcoin. And the reason why I like to use that term opt out with Bitcoin is because when I'm putting my fiat currency into Bitcoin, I am removing the middleman. I am removing oppressive parties. I am removing traditional financial products, people like the SEC, away from me and my personal decisions. Right now, that is the only solution we have to all of these legalized cartels, and it is getting absolutely ridiculous. Of course, I'm going to go ahead and go over what was said with Mr. Gary Gensler and guest speaker Elizabeth Warren, because y'all know she had to chime in. But anyways, looking at Bitcoin, we are still in a very, very tight contraction period. And let me tell you something, if we're actually able to flip $48,000 into support, it is pretty much go time for me. Yes, we are above moon girl time support, but we also see the Bollinger Band simple moving average 20 here at about $48,153. If we can get a nice candle close above that, continue to consolidate, and then rock upward, I would be a very, very happy girl. Also, too, generally when the SEC comes on and they start pointing fingers, spreading FUD, we can see people rise together and opt out with Bitcoin. As far as our indicators go, we have our MACD that looks like it wants to bull cross and head up. RSI is running upward. I am still weary for a pullback to $43,500 to $42,000. Just in case. It is always good to have two scenarios and to act on those scenarios, especially if you are day trading. Now, for our Bitcoin 12-hour chart, let's get a bigger picture. This looks bullish. It looks beautiful. We have MACD that's getting ready to bull cross and head up, RSI that's also running upward as well. And it looks like we created a local bottom here at about 44.6. Again, we got to flip that $48,000 area and we are good to go. But this is a pretty bullish setup that we're noticing here on the 12-hour chart. Taking a look at the 4-hour chart. 4-hour chart is looking good, except we have hit some resistance at $47,000. RSI is heading downward, MACD is running upward, our indicators are conflicting. That is okay. So in order for this momentum to continue to go, we really need to stay above 46.4 right now because that is where the EMA 200 is. Either way, guys, a bullish scenario would be for us to flip and stay above 48,000. A bearish scenario would be for us to kind of consolidate back at this range between approximately $44,500 and $47,000. All right, so the SEC came out and we saw Gary Gensler, which is the SEC chair, testify in front of Senate Banking and Banking GOP, which is those Congress folks. Anyways, basically this conversation was an absolute joke. They talked about stable coins being dangerous because of investor loss. Stable coins are pegged 1-to-1 to each fiat currency that it is associated with. Stable coins are not fully backed 1-to-1 by each US dollar or each fiat currency, but they are backed by other things. Bonds and different stuff like that. We talked about it on the show. And this is kind of similar to other financial products in the United States and to fiat currency. Even though you have $1 and they're stating $1 equals $1, that dollar is not necessarily backed by one thing. It's backed by a lot of different things in the United States. Stablecoins are probably some of the safest products. And we have projects like USDC that have done their due diligence that are really trying to work with the SEC. Tether, on the other hand, has had some hiccups, but at the same time, they got called out, they paid a fine, and they are good to go. And they're working on becoming more transparent. The next thing that they talked about was gamification and how dangerous gamification is to investors. There is no difference between gamification online with crypto and with gamification playing Magic cards or playing with World of Warcraft or some of these other games. The difference between utilizing blockchain technology for actual games is that you get to have ownership of particular in-game items. You can't necessarily do that with older types of video games. It doesn't work that way. And a lot of these video games, they have value on the secondary market. There's different things you can sell on the secondary market, like collector's items. And we're already doing that on eBay. So if you're going to come and saying that gamification is an enemy and that it's bad because people are actually making money off of it, then please, by all means, get rid of eBay. Get rid of these people that are buying antique goods, vintage goods, designer clothing, and reselling it on eBay. It doesn't make sense to me. Maybe I'm wrong here, but when I'm trying to break it down and rationalize it, it sounds like a very bizarre problem. And then, of course, we had Elizabeth Warren and other people chime in talking about how dangerous cryptocurrency is for the environment. It's not all of that dangerous. It's really, really, really not. It is an excuse for control. And the SEC said over and over again, Gary Gessner said over and over again, we just want to protect investors. You are not protecting me. An investment is a risky investment, no matter what it is. There's different risk threshold, yes, but at the end of the day, it is all pretty much the same. I know people in 2008 who lost their life savings who invested in 401ks and IRAs and other traditional financial products because things dropped. And even people with house prices, a lot of people lost their homes and their wealth because house prices dropped so dramatically and they had all these crazy loans out. If you want to protect investors, let us spend our money where we want to. Maybe consider having caps. Maybe consider having us take educational courses. I don't know what the answer is, but I do know I don't need to be protected by somebody from the SEC that is not in my wealth class, who hasn't shared the same life experience as I have. I do not need your protection, and I don't think any of you guys watching this need their protection either. Let's talk about our next story. This next story from Binnen Applebaum, whatever. The people using Bitcoin are basically a bunch of cosplay libertarians participating in game of make-believe on the playgrounds of the nanny state. And until this past week, I wasn't worried about it. You know what? Just because somebody has a difference of opinion of you doesn't make it wrong. You can use Bitcoin, you can use cryptocurrency, you could use Ethereum, and you can use fiat currency, and it could all be copacetic. These people just want our tax dollars, and that's fine. But putting out articles like this and speaking on it, things like this that you really don't understand, we're not playing cosplay. We value our freedom. We want our privacy. We want to opt out. We are tired of the big banks taking advantage of us. So articles like this, take them very lightly because it's a little bit ridiculous here and it is not very accurate nor true. Some more news to protect the American people, because now the Biden administration wants to track all inflows and outflows for all businesses and personal bank accounts over $600. And this right here is a tweet from my friend Mr. Anderson from PayPal. Confirm your taxpayer status to meet a new IRS requirement. The IRS will soon require anyone receiving 600 payments for goods and services to confirm their taxpayer status. There used to be a law for PayPal to where you didn't need to actually file taxes for income earned below, I think, $6,000 or $10,000. But now they want to see everything you're spending your money on. This is scary. Very, 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 very scary. Also, you could actually just use a digital dollar for this purpose also, because you'd be able to see all transactions pretty transparently. But I don't agree with that. I think we should be able to keep things private, and we should also not be policing people over $600. There is so much oversight that is going on with all of these new legislations and laws coming into play that they are becoming scary. Very, very scary. And I'm not here to be a conspiracy theorist. I'm not here to say some crazy stuff, but it is just becoming a little bit too much. For personal bank accounts over $600. What happens if I want to send my mom $700? To help her pay a bill, to help her pay something, I have to report that to the IRS now because I want to gift my mother with $700 or $600. getting to be a little bit ridiculous. We need to unite. We have to do something because I'm not with this. This last story, and then we're going to talk about Solana. SEC chair doubles down, tells crypto firms, come and talk to us. So Gary Gensler came out yesterday and basically said that exchanges need to do a better job of working with the SEC. Brad Armstrong from Coinbase tried to talk to the SEC. Crypto companies are trying to talk to the SEC. They are trying to meet on middle grounds, and the SEC and these legalized cartels are making it so complicated for us to do so. I'm trying to pay my crypto taxes, and it is becoming such a headache. Every single Satoshi I earn, I want to pay taxes on it. I want to do the right thing, but they're making it so complicated. And down over here, they said, we just don't have enough investor protection in crypto finance, insurance, trading, or lending, says Gensler. Frankly, at this time, it's more like the Wild West or the old world of buyer beware that existed before the securities laws are enacted. This asset class is rife with fraud, scams, and abuse in certain applications. It's really not. It is really not. All of the top cryptocurrency exchanges in the United States, Coinbase, FTX US, Gemini, Crypto.com, Celsius, they are pretty strict. They make you KYC, and they don't just have everything listed. You'll see different listings on different exchanges. This is becoming to where they're flipping the narrative about protection, and it's not. It's more about control on their end. And again, I'm all for meeting halfway in the middle through so that everybody's getting their fair share, but this is becoming really ridiculous to where they're not even willing to work with us. They're telling us to come to them and talk. We're trying to come to you and talk, and you're not listening. Anyways, Solana time. All right, so we got some FUD regarding Solana. Solana has been down for hours due to resource exhaustion. Validators may have to restart the recently rising blockchain network after it was overwhelmed by transactions. So apparently this was done from bots on DeFi protocol Radom. And we all know Solana is kind of like a centralized project, and that's okay. It's a project I have a moonbag of. We support it on this channel. I talk about it a lot. But the reason why I wanted to bring this up, because it's important to talk about people's faults and also their praises. So we had to talk about that Solana has been down, which is a little bit worrisome and scary. Also, too, it said in a Twitter reply, the CEO of Solana told a user that the issue is due to an overwhelming transaction volume from bots during an internal decentralized exchange offering, or IDO, for a project. And basically IDO is like an ICO or an IEO. So basically it was a bunch of bots that came on the Radom platform and were causing this issue. This is dangerous and this is bad, because if it continues to happen, Solana might not be the actual Ethereum killer. Either way, for price, this is a positive thing. Let me show you why. When we get FUD in the market, it causes price to decrease. And if you felt like you missed out on Solana, you may have another opportunity to get it. On the 12-hour chart, I've got my areas of support. We have $72, we have approximately $97, we have $132, all these additional areas of support from $121 to $97. And also we have our EMA 30 here at about $153, which we're currently getting close to testing. We had called for a drop, and I gave two scenarios. Possible drop to 160 and then a pop-up, which that doesn't look like it's going to happen, and then another drop to 143. However, this was before the news came out. So because of this bearish news, we might see a further drop. If you're interested in Solana, if you like the project, you may want to consider setting limit buys to scoop some up. I do think that Solana will get this issue fixed, but in the meantime, we will experience a little bit of FUD and a possible move all the way down to 145 and even below. If you're using leverage to trade Solana, be careful. If you're just interested in buying, accumulating, and buying the dip, now may be your time. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great rest of your day. I will catch you later. Bye-bye.